Discussing events of this week, part 2, Carlotta Pavone, Intelligent Socialism. It's part of the philosophy colloquium here at Stanford, and Carlotta talks about the idea of intelligence as a dividing factor in terms of hierarchy. She's differentiating between elitism and socialism. In a sense, she's saying elitism is, if we say this type of intelligence is worth more than the other, and socialism is intelligent socialism is just saying every kind of intelligence is equally worth and everybody has some intelligence. So in that sense, we're all equal, and also we all have the same sort of right to be called intelligence. Now, I think Carlotta opens up a lot of interesting discussions. For me, two main points. One is that robotics has actually solved that problem in terms of showing that cognitive skills are not as valuable as we thought. And the other is the question, okay, if we distinguish ourselves against machines, should we even go down the intelligence frontier? This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's December 1st, 2023. This is Krim Delko. This is the second episode today. So no changes. We are up 107.9%. The market is up 19.6%. We're outperforming by 87.3%. So Carlotta Pavone, part of the philosophy colloquium here at Stanford. Just for new listener, I'm doing a sabbatical at Stanford. So I'm just surfing through the departments here and attending seminars, colloquia, and this is a particularly interesting one. I really like to dip my toes in the humanities because I feel like questions about intelligence, for example, are very, very prevalent today because of artificial intelligence. We have, in my opinion, a Renaissance 2.0 movement happening where we have to define what a human is. And the first question I had to Carlotta is, well, can we use intelligence as a frontier to even define what a human is? Or is that a path that might actually lead us astray? She didn't have much of an answer to that. I think she was confused. And that's, I think, rightly so, because her work is really human-centric. She's anthropocentric. She's not thinking about other types of intelligence, like machine intelligence, for example. And she's considering the question whether different levels of intelligence amongst humans are justifiable, number one, and number two, if they can be used as a form of hierarchical segmentation. And I think, to me, that there is already a really interesting sort of recursiveness here, which is that, in my opinion, it's not that intelligence creates hierarchies, but it's that hierarchies define arbitrarily what is intelligence, and then that kind of grows because people start copying. So if chess is something that's worth playing, then parents encourage their kids to play chess, and it becomes a form of intelligence that is desirable. And then, of course, at some point, a machine beats people at chess, and then playing chess becomes less desirable. So intelligence is transitory. It's not really something that sticks, and it's being used primarily as a form of hierarchy. This would be my interpretation of intelligence, because it is very difficult to define intelligence. And the reason it's difficult to define intelligence is because we don't know how to create it. Now, we've made some strides in certain parts of intelligence that we considered actually desirable intelligence, such as playing chess and programming and summarizing text. And I think it's only a matter of time until these skills will be considered as not really desirable anymore, and therefore will lose its place in the hierarchy. But this opens up a much deeper question of, okay, fine, if that's the case, then what are we even trying to aim for, right? And I think in that sense, Carlotta's claim that intelligence elitism is a bad thing is right, because we shouldn't be elitist about intelligence, because most of the things we consider intelligent actually will lose its value sooner or later anyway. So in that sense, again, we shouldn't be proclaiming something intelligent or worth more than others. I spoke with Carlotta about this, for example. I said that holding an egg is a really difficult skill for a roboticist to solve. Now, we wouldn't consider that a valuable intelligence to have, but we could imagine a society where that is really a good skill to have. And if you have it, you're valuable because everything else can be done by robots. So again, I think intelligence elitism is very, very dangerous. And it opens up the question of what actually is intelligence. I mean, robotics, follow Sergey Levin's comments here, the most valuable form of intelligence is the Robinson Crusoe intelligence, which is actually flexibility and adaptation. And Carlotta spoke about this. So she had these types of forms of intelligence on her list as desirable. So it's adaptation, it's figuring out how to survive in an environment that is new. That could probably be used as a canonical form of intelligence. And in that sense, that maybe opens up the door for some sort of elitist form of intelligence, which is simply, okay, you need to be able to survive in any kind of environment. That's it. End of story. So it's a very general, very simple rule. It's not task specific. It doesn't depend on language or culture. It's just, I'll throw you in there, survive. And of course, that opens up questions of how can we test for this and stuff like that. But in general, this is what the robotics community is trying to develop. And it's useful to have this type of definition because it's also something that we could educate our kids to do. Now, the second point I ask Carlotta is, if we have a conversation, if we have a Renaissance 2.0, and we ask ourselves, what is a human? Should we even allow ourselves to go down the frontier of intelligence? Should we use intelligence, whether it's skill-based, goal-based, whatever it is, should we use it as a form of discrimination when it comes to machine versus human? Or should we just give up? Should we not even go down that route? And this question is, in my opinion, it has a lot more depth. This is not just a classification question. This is, in a sense, also a really deeply human question. This goes, very deep into, okay, what does it mean to be human? And maybe Levin's Robinson Crusoe intelligence could be part of that, right? Because we're still far away from developing a robot that can be left on a deserted island, and then we come back 2 years later and that robot has built an energy harvesting technology, has built some sort of housing that protects its actuators and that kind of stuff, and even is able to replace some of the broken parts. We're pretty far away from that. So in that sense, and humans can do that. Humans have done this. There's plenty of novels written about shipwrecks in the 18th century, and there is all kinds of stories all the time about people who survive the most crazy environments, lost in the mountains or buried by a mine and all that stuff. So again, we are maybe that this is a frontier, but the question in general is, okay, what is the frontier between human and machine? What should we teach humans? Those are deep questions that, by the way, have been asked almost in every AI conference that I go to, and I'm going to NeurIPS in about 10 days, and I'm sure that's going to be a deep conversation also in the NeurIPS community. So to summarize, Carlotta Pavone philosophy colloquium, questioning intelligence and the elitism of intelligence, I think rightly so, because we've shown in the AI community that intelligence cannot be categorized in hierarchies, because you never know which intelligence will be erased by the machines. And in fact, a lot of the intelligences that supposedly were considered low-level intelligences seem to be replaced pretty quickly by machines. Another example is healthcare. You might think that a neurosurgeon is a lot more worth than an elderly care person. I am happy to take a bet that 5 years from now, or maybe 10, the neurosurgeon will cost me a monthly subscription because it's going to be a robot, but the elderly care person will not be a robot. I'm pretty sure about that. So, so in that sense, we have to reevaluate value and hierarchy when it comes to skills, when it comes to the question of intelligence. And I believe we also have to reevaluate the question of what it means to be a human. These are valuable questions. I think in the AI community, we have to also prepare ourselves for pushback. We will get pushback from society about this. And I think incorporating philosophy and these colloquia is very important. Lastly, what I want to say is I'm a bit disappointed that when I go to the humanities, I see rarely anybody, in fact, nobody from the AI community. And when I go to AI events, like for example, this week I was at an event about AI and operations. So it was a business school AI event. Those are all managers, business people. When I go to, let's say, events that are actually meant to be connecting humans with AI, like the Human AI Center here at Stanford, it's mainly computer science people. Maybe occasionally an economist would pop up and talk about, sort of the economic validation of intelligence or that kind of thing. And maybe one more thing I want to add here, which is I don't want to dismiss economics here. I think economics has a lot to say when it comes to intelligence, because we can actually define intelligence by simply saying, look, whatever provides value, a task that provides value. This way we can define what is intelligent. This way we can define what is worth being taught and also what is worth investing in. Should I invest in Python programming skills? Probably not. Not because it's a bad thing or something like that, or it's socialism or elitism, but simply it's not going to be valuable to me. Versus maybe I should invest more time in understanding flexible hardware design when it comes to machine learning tasks, because they change all the time and the hardware is not able to adapt itself so easily to the new requirements, like today discussed with Thierry's presentation. To me, that seems to be more of a human skill still, this type of creativity to tinker around solutions for problems that are coming, that also, planning ahead, see where things are going. To me, that seems to be a rather difficult problem to solve. So I think that comes down to creativity, of course, things that we talk about a lot in the AI community and in the sort of humanistic community. And I think that crossroad needs to be bridged, and it can be bridged by engineering. Thank you.